Okay, so let's just dive right in. We're unpacking a story that really just dropped a bomb on social media back in November 2025.
Yeah,
It was like a celebrity writing her own cliffhanger in real time.
exactly.
And the headline that caught everyone was just so direct, so shocking. It was just Bunnie XO announced she is going to jail.
It's a phenomenal headline.
Mm-hmm.
But what's even more phenomenal is, everything happening around it. We've got a whole stack of sources here, multiple reports confirming the legal side of it, all the candid details she dropped on her own podcast, Dumb Blonde.
And analysis of her brand, her memoir announcement.
Right. And when you look at all of it together, this isn't just a celebrity dealing with some legal issue.
Right.
It's a strategically executed chapter in a much bigger story.
That's exactly why this deep dive is so important. We're looking at Elisa DeFord's, or, Bunnie XO's own words, the stuff her entire brand is built on.
The unfiltered confessions.
Yes. So we're looking at this mandatory jail booking, how she frames her past arrests, and how all of that is feeding into a major commercial product launch.
And that's our mission today. We need to get past the shock value and really understand the mechanics here. Our sources lay out a very specific strategic timeline. We're going to unpack how she converts these brushes with the law, her history with addiction, and all this personal trauma into the absolute core asset of her public life.
Turning every liability into social currency.
Constantly, she keeps reinforcing that unfiltered promise.
Okay, so let's start with the immediate crisis. That November 2025 announcement. Because the sheer drama of I'm going to jail feels so mismatched with the actual reason for it, which is almost boringly administrative.
It's a classic case of bureaucracy gone wrong, really. Bunnie X revealed she had to book herself into jail because she'd been driving for years, completely unknowingly on a suspended license.
Unknowingly. That's the key word, right? It just shows how buried this whole thing was.
Completely. And the root cause, it goes all the way back to a traffic ticket from 2020.
2020, so 5 years ago.
Yeah, she was driving home from a family vacation in Alabama, got a ticket, and then, she just forgot about it, by her own admission. And that unpaid ticket is what triggered the suspension years ago.
And it just stayed dormant.
It did, until she had a recent traffic stop. Actually, 2 of them.
Oh, right.
That's where it gets confusing. She got pulled over the first time, found out about the old ticket, and paid it in late October 2025. She thought, okay, problem solved.
But it wasn't.
No. Days later, she gets pulled over again, probably for something minor like speeding. And that second officer had the critical piece of information.
Which was?
That even though she'd paid the fine, the system hadn't officially cleared the suspension yet. And driving on a suspended license, even if you don't know about it, legally, it's an arrestable offense.
Okay, and this is where the control of the narrative really starts. Because the officer could have arrested her right there on the side of the road.
Exactly. And that's what makes this next part so crucial for her brand. Instead of a messy public arrest, she was given a voluntary surrender mandate. The officer basically told her, go down to the jail and book yourself in sometime that week.
That little window of time, the ability to choose her moment, that's everything.
It is. It lets her turn a mandatory legal action into a planned public performance.
And she announced the plan immediately. She went right on her podcast and told everyone, what was the exact quote?
It was something like, you guys have seen all my past mugshots.
Uh-huh.
And then she said, I'm going in glam the F up, baby, and I'm going to vlog it.
See, that's not just a vlog. It's real-time image management. She's turning a potential disaster into must-see content.
But that only works because our audience is already primed for it. It all relies on the foundation she's been building for years.
Which is the perfect pivot. Let's talk about that foundation, the whole trauma to triumph story. This new issue isn't happening in a vacuum. What's the history she shares that makes this whole situation work for her?
Well, her entire brand is built on this brutally honest story of her past. The sources lay it all out. She was an abused runaway at 14, lived on the streets.
And dealt with severe addictions.
Severe. Specifically Xanax and cocaine. That life eventually led her into sex work, first as a stripper, and then later as a high-end escort out in Las Vegas.
And she doesn't just talk about it, she provides visual proof. She actually went and found 7 of her old mugshots and posted them on Instagram.
Yes, spanning from age 19 to 26. And that's a strategic use of iconography, right? She doesn't hide them. She presents them like milestones.
As evidence of her growth.
Exactly. The last arrest she talks about was at 26 for soliciting an undercover cop on a casino floor. And she'll post those pictures with captions about them being reminders of who I used to be and how far grace has carried me.
What's so smart about that is she doesn't just show the arrest photo, she adds the context. She says she was deep in addiction, lost in survival mode. She reclaims the mugshot from being a tool of the state to being a part of her personal testimony.
And that testimony gets a huge boost from her husband, Jelly Roll.
Right.
When she posted those mugshots, he commented on it, something like, "I would have never became the man I am without you. It was your story that inspired mine. Testify, baby, testify."
That validation is critical. Their whole brand as a couple is about shared redemption. So when this new kind of minor legal thing pops up in 2025, her audience doesn't see it as a failure.
No, they see it as just another chapter.
Hmm.
The relatable couple still dealing with the administrative mess left over from their past lives. It's just another check-in on her journey.
Which leads us straight into the business of it all, the commercial climax. I mean, the decision to go to jail, glam the F up, is more than just defiance. It's a monetizable strategy. But
Yeah.
I have to ask, don't you think there's a risk here that her audience might get cynical and see it as just using the justice system for a book launch?
Oh, that risk is absolutely there. But the strategy is designed to lean into her existing brand so hard that it minimizes that risk. You have to look at this move through a more technical lens. The Glam mugshot is what you could call a performative subversion of carceral shame.
Okay, let's pause on that. Explain carceral shame for everyone listening.
So it's the idea that the state uses the mugshot, the bad lighting, the messy hair, the look of defeat, to publicly humiliate a person. It's supposed to be a low point.
A moment of powerlessness.
Right. And Bunnie's choice to go in glammed is a preemptive strike against that. She's basically saying the state can have its official record, but I will control the image that goes viral.
So the contrast becomes the asset, the high glamour look against the stark jail background.
It's brilliant, really. She's making sure the public record actually aligns with her curated celebrity image. And in doing so, she's capitalizing on her right of publicity, the right to control the commercial use of your own identity. She's monetizing the state-mandated documentation of her own booking.
And the timing on this, I mean, you couldn't plan it better. This media frenzy is basically free marketing for her book.
The timing is almost too perfect. This whole news cycle blows up just a couple of months before her memoir is stripped down. Unfiltered and Unapologetic is due out on February 10th, 2026.
A book that promises to detail her life of heartbreak and healing, trauma and triumph.
So yes, the forgotten ticket, the bureaucratic mess, the jail booking, it all becomes the most effective, organic, high-impact ad campaign you could ever ask for.
It proves in real time that the book is going to deliver on its title. It's literally unfiltered and unapologetic.
Exactly.
If you're finding this as fascinating as we are, make sure you're subscribed, because we still have to get into the other non-legal vulnerabilities she's layering into this narrative to make it all hold together.
And that layering is so essential, because if it were only about legal trouble, it would feel one note, or like you said, cynical. But the sources show she keeps her audience invested by being just as open about other deeply emotional struggles.
Right. Let's talk about that ongoing vulnerability. This is what keeps the audience emotionally connected to her current life, not just her past.
The main thing she's been very transparent about lately is her fertility journey. She and her husband, Jason DeFord, have been going through a really grueling 6-month IVF process.
She's 45, and she's been sharing the toll it's taking, physically, emotionally.
All of it. The
Right.
constant injections, the hormonal side effects, the heartbreak of it all.
That's the kind of thing that creates such a strong connection. It grounds her in a struggle that so many people face. It makes her feel universal, not just famous.
On top of that, she's dealing with a major family crisis. She's been caring for her father, Bill, who has stage 4 cancer. She actually brought him to live in Nashville after she found out he'd been hiding how sick he was from her for almost a year.
Wow, so she's not just planning a glam jail visit. She's navigating these incredibly painful real-life events all at the same time.
And that's the synthesis. The legal headache, the IVF struggle, caring for her dad. It all weaves into one cohesive narrative. It shows she's constantly under pressure, which reinforces the authenticity of that unfiltered brand. It keeps the story of her growth commercially viable right up to the book release.
So we've gone from a forgotten traffic ticket in Alabama all the way to a strategically planned, glammed-up booking announcement. Her timeline is really a masterclass in turning hardship into personal and commercial power.
It's a fascinating and complex look at modern celebrity. What our sources really show is that for figures who have built this kind of redemption narrative, legal trouble isn't always a liability. Sometimes. It can actually be a high-value asset.
Real-time proof of their resilience.
Exactly. It fits perfectly into the story they're already telling.
It's just remarkable to generate this much media coverage from an administrative error, all timed perfectly with a product launch.
Which leaves us with a final, and I think, pretty provocative thought for you to consider. When a celebrity takes a mandatory interaction with the justice system, a system designed to enforce consequences, and turns it into highly anticipated content, does that action humanize the system and the people caught within it? Or does it ultimately just commodify the very idea of consequence? Think about what that means for accountability in the age of the influencer.